Hello, beautiful humans and earth angels. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. I am so excited to be doing a reading for you today. And I don't know if you're in a part of the world that's cold. I currently am. And of course, this is a timeless reading. So if it's warm where you are right now, perhaps you will come back to this at a time when it is more resonant. But even if it's warm outside, this is definitely a very figurative, not purely literal vibe that we're channeling today. So to explain things a little bit more, this reading is going to be about what you're putting on ice. Are you freezing someone out? Are you putting a situation on pause for a little while? We're gonna look into that. I was really just inspired by the image of a sheet of ice or an iceberg just moving really slowly across the water. So it's definitely like there's room for some motion here, some dynamics, but we're gonna look at things that are moving a little bit more slowly in your life and see what comes up. So I'm so curious. I feel like this is a unique one. I don't know. I'm excited. So let us get into it. So to explain how the actual readings will go, you can choose one of these three piles or two of them or all of them, whatever you feel drawn to. I have these three crystals I pulled here randomly, and what I'm going to do is shuffle the oracle cards in advance. This isn't my usual style of reading, but I think it'll just save me a lot of time and energy. So you can see if those oracle cards resonate with you, and if they do, you can continue on with that reading, and I will be pulling tarot cards on camera to expand upon the message of that pile. So without further ado, let's just get into the card picking. Okay, so I have a mystery crystal here. I don't actually know what it is. I'm sorry. It might be prehnite, but I think it could be something else. Like, not a kyanite. I'm not really sure. If you have an idea, please let me know. It's from my childhood. This, of course, is opalite for the second group. And for the third group, we have what is definitely prehnite. I'm 100% certain about that one. Has some great inclusions, so that's that. So those are your options. Feel free to pause this video if you haven't aligned with one of these yet and need a little bit more time. But otherwise, I will have timestamps for chapters in the description box and in the comments. And if you're with pile one, feel free to stay here. Otherwise, I will see you in a couple seconds. Hello, group one. Apologies for a little bit of a setup and lighting change. That really just seems to be my MO on this channel. Yeah, I struggle with the timing of my videos, but I think, you know, we can see the lighting is still cool, and you know what, we're here. So I have your oracle cards for you. I'm so excited to see what they are, so let's not take any more time. Let's just go right now. And I'm like curious about how I'll arrange them. Ooh. 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 I wasn't really planning on doing reversals for this. Wow. Okay, this is so interesting. Interesting. How do we want to do this? It's so funny just having everything in like a line. Like, I feel like I never do that. There's always tears, but this is all there's room for here. Okay, touching the cards too much, touching the cards too much. Okay, wow, this is really, really neat. So it sounds like, do you have beef with someone, group one? It really seems like you do, or it seems like there's some sort of conflict that presumably with the theme of this video and some of the advice here, you have been putting off. And I feel that there's a lot of, I don't want to say resentment building. It could be resentment, I don't usually get the fox card in this deck, but it usually talks about someone who's really monogamous or committed, so a really loving partner, or a teacher. So you could be taking some sort of exercise classes here, maybe boxing or I don't know, pole, anything really, aerial silk, maybe something really skillful like that, or you're just trying to hit the gym more and you have a personal trainer. Could also be a friend who helps you, but what I'm seeing here is there's just simply a lack of harmony. I mean, with this battle and this, like, this is just such a good example of things taking on a different meaning contextually. The build strength here build strength here with the battle is like literally a fist fight. Not literally, but that's what it feels like. That might be like, you know, just quick off the cuff thoughts that you get when you're feeling triggered and upset. Obviously, I don't think you would like to get into a fist fight, but your third eye is open. You see the truth. You might not be speaking it, but you definitely see it. You know what's up. You know, if you haven't been 100% sure, or if you've been doubting your intuition, this is your sign that someone does not have your best interests in mind, or they have they're so attached to a certain idea of who you should be or what you should be doing or what your relationship should look like that it's ending up being detrimental. Like it's not, so they're not out to get you or anything like that, but it's just not in alignment with where you are. And so it's going to cause a conflict eventually because it's just so not what you're about, and they feel so set on it. Like these are people who are committed to how they feel. With the build strength and the geyser, there kind of is this pressure building, so that has been like something trapped in ice but slowly thawing. So there may be some preparation you need to do before you confront this person. The strength doesn't have to be physical. It can be mental, emotional, you know, getting yourself into a more stable place so that you can show up as your best self. With the universe, you know, we're all just stardust. Like, I think you really want to stay both grounded and expansive and remember who you are and what you're about in terms of like giving everyone grace in the situation and not taking yourself too seriously. But at the same time, this person has a lot of conviction and you might feel like pretty threatened depending on what the topic is here. And it's really important. Like, undoubtedly, you need to speak your truth eventually, but it might be better at certain times if you're strategic about it. And yeah, it can look like a battle, it can look like an explosion, or it could be something a lot calmer. Like this person here building the strength, they could just be like, you know, like really slowly air punching just for fun, like a playful bit of banter with someone type of thing. It really could go a lot of different ways. So this gives me ice cracking energy and making like really dramatic noises as it does that, like it's in a movie or something. And it's not necessarily an entire iceberg breaking down per se, but there is a crack that has been building and it seems like it will burst at a certain point, and it's up to you to be prepared for that time. There might be someone in particular who can help you because they have experience in this area. Not necessarily a workout instructor, but someone older than you, someone really down to earth, as the fox is an earth element creature here, but there is also a lot of air, water, and fire really. but there also is a clear message here that they cannot teach you everything. You need to source strength from within yourself and also source. So with these hands outstretched here, if you are feeling under-resourced or lost about how to move forward, turn to the universe, turn to your guides, ancestors, deities, spirits, anything that you work with. If that's not really your thing, you can still pray, you can hang out in nature, you can hang out with plants or trees, or, you know, just feel the air around you, feel the vibrations, or just explore how this is all feeling in yourself and in your body. Like, at the end of the day, we all are just stardust, and we are connected by the fact that literally everything is vibrating atoms. So no matter how disconnected you feel from someone, that ultimately is an illusion. So I'm all riled. Like, I got really high energy. Sometimes my energy dips when I'm in a reading, especially if it's like heavy and sad, but like this is like very active. Like, sure, you've been holding something in, but the time is coming, if it hasn't already happened, that you face this person. Yeah, I haven't felt this like amped up in a reading before, I don't think. So I'm really excited to see what your tarot cards say about this. We can get into it a little bit further. But yeah, it seems like for you, and thaw really isn't the right word. Okay, I'm just gonna take these away actually. Thaw isn't the right word because that is too gentle and slow. This is like a sudden cracking. So that's generally your icy dynamic so far. So may I please expand on pile one's message? So I have this deck here because I chose this deck. So I chose this deck called the Spacious Tarot because it actually has a lot of snow in it. Ooh, okay. Ooh. So I thought that that would be fitting. Okay, I'm gonna take reversals for this part. So this is interesting. Let's see what else. I don't really have a set plan for exactly how many cards I'm taking here. Just kind of seeing what happens. Yeah, oh my gosh, look at that. Ooh. Whoa, okay, suddenly everything's coming out reversed all of a sudden. LOL. Let's get a couple more cards and then let's talk about it. It's funny, this card ended up upside down somehow. I'm not the best shuffler always, but a little bit of a flash of the Six of Cups there. So definitely can be someone you have history with. It definitely feels like that because of the emotional investment. Wow, okay. I talked about the snow and like the air and combative energy, and wow, literally almost everything is like this like phallic pointed energy. So maybe just one more. I don't know. No, I think there should be one more. Can we get one final card? Oh, that's too many. Here it is though. Can we please get one more card? Oh. Oh, wow. 2 queens in a row. Touching the cards, touching the cards. Having so much fun touching the cards. Sorry if that's annoying. Also, if you hear any snoring, that is my dog at my feet. She is so sweet. She like knows when I'm channeling and like okay, that has to be audible. So loud. She knows what I'm talking about here. It's so cute. She like wants to help ground me and like get that circuit going. So she's like right by my feet. It's adorable. Anywho, this is pretty well in alignment with what I was seeing with the oracle cards. I think, you know, maybe some of you have confronted this person already, but I'm pretty sure most of you have not, because you've been holding back and you might feel a little bit trapped in this situation, especially if you feel underprepared or like this other person is more powerful than you, or for any reason just has the advantage in whatever the situation is. So that might be really intimidating. But this reading is definitely about like standing in your power, you know, and standing up to them. The Seven of Wands, super defensive energy. It's like this wand is looking for somewhere to land, and these are like hot coals. It's like can't come here. And I think it's so interesting, like the alternating colors of the wands here. Like this one like feels like it's yeah, like that. And also this here, it's like they're about to do battle. I don't know what direction they're supposed to be going in, but it almost looks like they're coming together in a collision here, these wands. And this is the Knight of Swords in reverse. So the Eight of Wands, when it's in reverse, really supports the Eight of Swords energy, where this has not been moving quickly. Like I was saying, it's been a really like slow, ominous cracking for potentially quite some time. And yeah, that really fits into that like iceberg energy in general. But I also think that things are about to speed up. You have the World reversed here because of that resistance that you've been feeling to moving things forward. Or, you know, potentially this person could be avoiding you as well, especially if you are more powerful in this situation and they might actually feel intimidated by you. They could be avoiding you because they know they messed up and they're not ready to face the consequences for what they did. So you've been like, that pool is, I'm like looking at that right now. It's like you've been sort of just like waiting. It's almost like a loading screen, just like swirling around, chilling out, waiting for things to go down so that the world can come upright and you can actually close out this chapter with someone. Whether or not they're gonna stay in your life after this, you need to have this resolution. There isn't always closure in this life. In fact, a lot of the time there isn't any closure. It's honestly a shame. I feel like media sort of skews our expectations with that. But in this situation, I think that it's really extra important, and I think you're gonna get it, especially if you make an effort here to drive things forward. And if you are kind of like really connected to your higher self and trying to come into this situation the least combative that you can be. So trying to make this person, even if you're really pissed at them, trying to make this person feel better by just sort of like comforting their ego, I guess, by being maybe what feels like too nice to them. But I don't know, I don't like the phrase the bigger person for some reason. I feel like it's just like not it, but I'm struggling to think of other words right now, but that is what is coming to mind. Like truly connected to the universe, connected to source and the divine. And when you're like that, it is so much easier to let go of a lot of hurts because again, you just feel so expansive. They seem so much smaller. So when you're tapped in and you're looking at like all of the stardust in the universe, suddenly things don't feel so awful. Something I've been feeling throughout this too is like there was that physicality I was talking about at the beginning, but I was also kind of feeling like this person really knows how to throw down verbally. Like they can be really nasty with their words, and maybe you can too, and maybe you provoke that in each other depending on how you get into conflict. But I think maybe one or both of you has been holding back because you know that if you see them right now, you're gonna really flip out and say some things that you don't mean or you'll regret later. So you've been keeping your distance so that you can cool down, so that you can release that energy in other ways, like exercise and whatnot, tuning in spiritually, all kinds of things. I really like these two queens here though. It feels like a lot of you will come into harmony after this, or you can go your separate ways. Like this does kind of give me the vibe, this crow here, of like, I don't know, just kind of like sitting there with like a weirdly, not empty, but like there isn't even a word for the feeling when someone has like left your life and you understand why, and like it's sad but also necessary type of thing. So there is this like melancholy here, but I think either way the point is that you will get the closure that you need if you go about this you will get the closure you need if you go about this situation the right way. And I can't tell you what that is, but just know that there is a pathway here. It's not impossible. It's going to be more likely and more accessible to you for some people versus others, but there is a way. There's a way, you just have to figure it out. But the way the Guardian of Cups is like looking at this cup here and this lotus, it reminds me of the world. It reminds me of like things resolving. Everything else is so pointy except for those two cards. So it's like a much more hospitable and even like feminine energy potentially. So even if these two queens go their separate ways, I do think that a lot of you are going to be coming out of this situation feeling resolved. It's just about timing and how you move your energy and being considerate of the other person and their needs and feelings, and just staying open and humble and remembering that we all are just stardust. I don't know, I was just so excited to see this card. I was like, this is so sweet. But it really is true. And then I'm actually just feeling called to do like a couple of these at the last minute. These circle cards are oracle cards. They're very fun. Ooh, laughter. Can we get some final parting messages for group one? Desert. Ooh, interesting. So it can be like an emotional desert for now. You can feel depleted. Oh gosh, Miri, you can't do that, babe. She's moving the whole table. Apologies for my dog moving the entire table. That was so funny. Hopefully she chills out. Please stop being fussy. Going back to desert, this could also be you feeling like you're preparing in a really like brutal, tough way, like you're really conserving your resources and stretching yourself. And I have a deck, actually it's this deck where the strength card, okay, now I have to find it. The strength card is a desert. And so I feel like that's where this association is coming from in my mind right now. Oh dear. watch it be like at the very end. Just coming down to the, yep, here we go. Okay. So this is the card I was thinking of, the Strength card. It's such a beautiful one. And it really speaks to me just about, like, again, being really resourceful and resilient. Things that survive in the desert are like very badass organisms, you know? So that's definitely you in this situation. Trust. Oh, I love that. I freaking love that. It's so true. You have to trust in your own abilities. And at a certain point, you have to just trust in... What else does group 1 mean? You have to trust in other people. Whoa, okay, this shot out. Spontaneity. Okay, so, I mean, maybe don't overthink it. There definitely is a part of you that wants to just, like, rush and do this, like, right now. Which could work out. It could work out fine. You know, I think if you're in a situation where the opportunity arises for you to talk to this person and you're like, oh, this is not what I planned, like, will it be premature if I do this? This could be like the go-ahead from spirit to like do what feels right in that moment. If you're like consumed with doubt, then maybe not. But if it seems like a good time, like, you can't plan everything out. You can't have this like perfect battle strategy or anything like that. So just trust that you will find the right path and that this person seems to have a lot of passion. That doesn't necessarily mean that they care about you a lot, but I think for a lot of you, they do. And I am optimistic for a lot of you with this situation resolving in a much better way, and you'll have increased just understanding and a much stronger relationship going forward. But regardless, you are, yeah, just so powerful, group 1. Like, I'm not making that up. Like, this was such a high energy reading. I feel like so excited just channeling the energy for your group. Like, this is not how I feel most of the time. So yeah, it's really cool. Even if you're feeling stuck, like, you have the energy within you that you need to make this happen. So I wish you all the best of luck with that coming up to this point of conflict. And I trust that things are going to work out. Fingers crossed. But thank you so much for letting me read your cards. This was so fun. And yeah, I have all my relevant links. Oh my gosh, my dog is moving the table again. I have all of my relevant links in the description of this video and on my profile. If you enjoyed this reading, I would really appreciate it if you subscribed or liked it, if you're feeling up for that. But otherwise, thank you again for being here. It is so cool to be able to read your cards. And I'm so grateful to Spirit and all of our guides for helping with this reading. And yes, I hope you take care, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye. Hello, group 2. Welcome to your reading. I have your oracle cards right here, and I'm so excited to see what they are. So let's just get right into things. We'll see how it feels like they should be arranged. I'm not really doing reversals for this part. Crystallize. That's awfully topical for an icy reading. Okay. I don't know. I'm just playing around with this. Okay, that looks pretty nice. Okay, so what immediately came to mind to me here was that you have clearly been through something challenging recently because of this Phoenix energy and because of this displacement. So I actually went to read the guidebook description of displacement because I felt called to do that, and I'm really glad that I did, because it talks about crows essentially, or you, being angry at a certain source, but they can't take their anger out on that source, so they take it out elsewhere, lash out against the people or things that have nothing to do with the original hurt. So yeah, the very last sentence of the description for this card is, are you creating cracks in an unrelated relationship because addressing the source of your anger head on is too threatening? And I was like, ooh, cracks, thematically relevant. So that might not necessarily resonate, but I do think something challenging is happening recently. You could have actually had to move. It could be a different meaning for displacement, and like the phoenix rising, like you literally may have had to like pick up and go somewhere else. But you could be in the same place and just feeling really displaced emotionally or psychically, spiritually, energetically. Something was disrupted, because you have both of these here that are so about routine and being really structured. And this card gives me so much strength, honestly. This morning card, like, that is the vibe I want to be feeling when I wake up on a day when I have to work and stuff. Like, not a care in the world. I love it so much. But nonetheless, this looks like for someone who is taking care of themselves. And so is this abundance planning here. This person is like committed, or this card is about committing to really mapping out a clear future for yourself and like speaking or writing it into existence. You know, you're coming back from something, you want to make sure that you have a clear course of action for getting there. But I also think that you can maybe take yourself too seriously sometimes. Because of this crystallize, it's like you immediately want to lock down a new routine, but it might take some trial and error. It might take some playing around. So it is really hard to balance when you're recovering from something, like the need to pick yourself up and like start doing really serious things that fuel you in your life and move things forward. But there's also this need for play and for being gentle with yourself and just taking time to enjoy life. Like, just immaculate vibes over there, just exquisite. But I think this play card is really important because, and it almost looks like they're flying up too, and there is this duality with the wings, which is sort of interesting. But I do think this play card is so important because I'm thinking now of the ice metaphor. If it's too frozen, it would be obstructing even dolphins from being able to move around freely. And they're like such fast, fluid creatures who do what they want. But if you're too rigid and crystallized, like, there are a lot of different ways a crystal can form. These particular crystals are like very pointy, not very inviting. Yeah, just like a spike ball almost, like keeping things out. There really are like so many patterns. You know, even this is like very similar, but they're a lot shorter. This has a very different energy of quartz than this one does, in my opinion. I think you can see the difference. So you don't necessarily need to form like that. You'll see in the tarot deck I'm going to use, it came out a lot in the last pile, potentially, that crows in that deck are actually swords, and a lot of the swords images are covered in snow. That's why I picked the deck, because it has a lot of snow and ice in it like that. So that could come out, it might not, but I'm already thinking of it just because of these two cards being next to each other. So going back to the message of displacement, I think there is just a little bit of a warning here to be careful with who you are speaking to and what you're saying, and being really mindful of the energy that you're carrying when you do that, and like why you're saying things to someone, what you want out of an interaction. Just being really deliberate, because I think sometimes maybe if you get really locked into a routine, you can be so set on certain things that you don't stop to be able to be flexible if something else is coming up, or to respond to other people in your life and their emotions. You might kind of cut that out, or just be so overwhelmed by the ambitiousness of the plans that you set up that you're kind of like burnt out empathy-wise and just don't have the capacity to deal with it. So this is definitely some difficult energy. I think you have a lot of motivation to move forward with this Phoenix energy. I mean, you know, it doesn't really get more intensely resilient than that, really. So I think you're set and you're gonna be fine. But this is about not becoming too rigid too quickly, and being okay with that vulnerability that opens up there. Like there's some heart chakra energy I think that needs to come through. You might be a little bit blocked in that area. Like that's definitely what dolphins make me think of. The Phoenix in this deck is root chakra as well, so that sense of grounding and safety. Yeah, you might really struggle with vulnerability and control, and you use structure in your life as a way to feel control and avoid vulnerable situations. So what I think you're putting on ice, or you're being called to try to put on ice, is crystallizing a new way of life right now. This is a sign that you need some more time to experiment and figure things out before you make huge commitments to yourself and literally like set things in stone. So like the world is your oyster. I just realized like these are sharks outside. Oh no, these are just fish actually. Why did I think they were sharks? What does that say about me? But it's a similar vibe. It's like waking up and then you go play, because you don't feel this intense pressure to, again, like take yourself really seriously. There has to be some room for play there. So this is really interesting. Don't lock things in too soon. You don't want to get trapped in an iceberg and like you can see through it with your eyes because it's really clear and you're near the edge. And yeah, you're immobilized in this sheet of ice, but then you see something outside that's really nice and you're like, oh, like, shoot, like I want to go be part of that, but now I'm locked in and I can't get out of what I've put myself into. So you really want to avoid that situation. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but this is a message from Spirit to really just take stock and see, are you rushing into things too quickly? Where is there more room in your life for play? But let's move on to the tarot to get into this a little bit more. So yeah, I'm just gonna take these cards away. So as I mentioned, cards going everywhere. As I mentioned, this is the Spacious Tarot, and it's very nature themed. And there are some icy scenes, so I thought it would be good for this, but anything can come out. Okay. Ace of Wands reversed. I don't really have a set plan in terms of how many cards I'm pulling. I'm just kind of going with it. If you see, these are 2 swords cards that are icy. Yeah, the pros are only the court cards. Ooh. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I feel like if you could sum this up with one card, if I had to pick one, I think 2 of Pentacles would be my first choice, probably. I don't know. I can't think about that right now. We're just rolling with things. Oh, this came out in the last pile. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is like, sometimes like, I don't know. I always find meanings in cards like extremely quickly, and I'm not confused about it at all. I mean, almost never. You can always ask for clarification, but sometimes there are sets of cards that are just so clear that you immediately get so many messages about them. Like, it doesn't even need like a second. It's just like instantaneous messages. So these honestly are just reiterating everything I just said. I feel like this Five of Swords is sort of talking about that setback that you had. Also, like, so much pointy phallic energy. Like, you do have earth and water here, but otherwise it's a lot of swords and wands. But you've really suffered something that was sad. You might actually be blocking your feelings about it, but I feel like on a certain practical level, like maybe that it's something like tangible that you can say, like there's an actual thing missing from your life, or something changed about you, something materially might have changed. But that part, it's like you can't deny that hurt because the evidence is there. You can't like intellectualize it away or bury. Like, look at this, like upright, this explorer is exploring for the cup and like on a mission, but you are like not even going towards the sludge and the darker corners of your mind, or like the less explored corners of your mind. So yeah, it does seem like there is a lack of balance there in terms of feeling your feelings. With the Two of Pentacles, it's kind of everything I was just talking about. You're sort of juggling between these two aspects of yourself, where you have a lot of executive functioning normally. The King of Swords is very decisive, very communicative. He knows who he is and what he's about and is not afraid to make decisions. But he could be too speedy, especially with the Knight of Swords combined with him. The Knight of Swords is like objectively known for being like way too brash and way too fast, and yeah, totally is like the card of rushing into things too quickly, and also like saying a lot of things that you don't necessarily mean. Which can also be like the commitments that I was talking about. Like, you could start promising things to people that you later realize like, oh, uh-oh, I can't do that, or you're doing it but you're miserable. This Ace of Wands reversed is catching my eye now, and I feel like that is all of the inspiration you've been having to try certain new things in the wake of this like ending here. But it's kind of just that reminder from Spirit, I think, to hold that in for a little bit longer. Like, really let it marinate and let yourself really consider exactly what will come from all your decisions. Obviously, you can't know that, but you can take some time to feel things out and not commit too soon. And that is in line with the planning. It's kind of a funny paradox for you, where you really like to plan, but you also like to get things going. So sometimes you might not even take enough time to plan because you're like, I just need to keep going. Definitely speedy energy that needs to slow down. So yeah. And again, this sort of duality and balance here with the Two of Wands, it's really interesting. It's interesting too, like you have the Ace of Wands reversed, and then like things come together and they come upright and you can start like moving outwards. I've never had this thought about this card before, but they kind of look like dowsing rods that people hold, you know, and like get sort of like pulled in different directions or communicate with spirits that way. So yeah, that just goes back to like feeling things out. Like, you don't have to run, you can pull those out and see what sort of like vibrations or sensations you pick up, and yeah, move forward really slowly that way. and adjust as you go accordingly. That's so funny. I love when new meanings come out that are like contextual to the reading. I had never thought of that before. But yes, I think you really do need to get in touch with your feelings. This Knight of Cups reverse is like, again, kind of that blocked heart chakra energy that I was talking about before. I think you'll feel like more trust for yourself and a greater sense of peace if you actually take more time to feel your feelings, because you won't have this pull that's like ultimately always distracting you a little bit. You can push them down as much as you want, but there's always going to be that little annoyance in the back of your mind. Sorry if the camera changed a little bit. My battery died. But getting back to it, having a better grasp of your emotions will let you go and move through life with more conviction, because you're not just going on like this rational, logical basis that you're very good at thinking out, but you can know that your emotional body, your emotional self and life are aligned with what you're doing, or at least that you have them in mind, so that you're looking out for yourself while you do what's best. I'm sure you do a lot for other people. Seems like you're ambitious with your career, but do you take care of you? Because it's really not sustainable. And that honestly might have something to do with the loss you experienced recently, or the setback. I don't know what it was, but that may have happened because you weren't taking care of yourself and you didn't get clear on your emotions in time to have a situation go better. Maybe not for all of you, but for some of you. So yeah, this is all about channeling your positive King of Swords energy at his best. He is a king. He's so good. He knows what's up and makes really good decisions and communicates amazingly. Like, imagine being able to balance on this type of thing, like just so much skill. And I want to pull just some last minute oracle cards to get a little bit of parting advice. What does pile 2 need to know going forward as they put their decision making on ice? Forgiveness. Okay, so again, I don't know what happened, but it seems like you either disappointed someone or someone disappointed you. And look, it's like, it's like there's teardrops on this. I don't know if you can really fully see, but that's what it looks like. And it's like right here by the water. It's getting in touch with those feelings. So, you know, this could be like journaling things out, like really using your words to express yourself. If you can't really do that around other people right now, journaling is always a good option. Anything that, you know, like writing music, writing poems, that could be helpful with forgiveness. But it also really does seem like you need to be more tender with yourself. I think you have a lot of shame that you try to bury really deep, but it's still there. Frustration, yeah, that makes sense. I think you probably, if you do know that whatever happened was like in large part due to you making mistakes, I guess you get 4 this time, so I just had 2 pop out. Then you might be frustrated with yourself, or you're frustrated with the other person because you set really high standards for yourself and the people in your life. So just remember that that ultimately isn't helpful for the long term. It doesn't let you move forward. It's kind of like burning yourself with what could otherwise be like a really powerful energy that gets all tangled up. And yeah, you don't want your mind to look like this, nor do you want your energy to look like that either. It's really, really tangled up. So get clear on your perspective of what happened, your understanding of what other people think happened, and how you're moving forward from this. Let's see. Release. Yeah, literally like about to like dive off. These are so like fitting for where they've landed. Literally about to like dive off of the cliff. So at a certain point, like release your words into the world by journaling or writing poetry. You could share your creative endeavors, but it's also totally fine, I think, to, well, always, but especially now, to keep it to yourself. But at a certain point, you release the frustration. You forgive yourself, you forgive any other people involved, or if there aren't other people, it's some other sort of dynamic, just like forgiving the universe if you're feeling a sense of frustration with it. This release is gonna feel really good. And it does kind of go back to the play as well. It's like release your need for control. You don't need to have such tight control over everything. You can move back and forth through portals and be fluid like a dolphin. Yeah, really connect to that water side. It seems like you are stuck on the physical, all the other elements really, except for water. Serendipity, oh my gosh. These cards like flow into each other. It's so cool. Because this, yeah, I like associate different cards in this deck together. The color scheme is really interesting too. But again, literally what was I just saying? Like embracing flow and fluidity and water. This is literally like letting, not fate because things are open, but like letting different quantum pathways like flow over you, and like don't resist the current, you know? You have control, but there's really only so much you can do, and you will exhaust and completely overwhelm yourself if you try to go against what is an ancient and indisputable, unchangeable dynamic within this universe, which is like chaos, stochastic wildness, and just general like infinite possibilities about how things can go. So yeah, really try to release and like, yeah, just chill out. Like chill out. Maybe put your mind on ice for a little while. Like this definitely is a call to not like freeze something out forever, but definitely take a chill pill, group 2, with peace and love. I hope that this reading resonated for you, and I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to like and subscribe to my channel if you feel like doing that. And yeah, thank you to your guides and my guides and the universe for helping with this reading. It was such an honor to channel for you. And yeah, take care, and I hope to see you in another video soon. Bye! Hello, group 3. Welcome to your reading about what you are putting on ice. I'm so excited for your reading, and I'm extra curious about this one because all of the other readings had one card from each oracle deck, like the amount of cards that I planned, but you got double cards from 3 different decks. So there's already a lot going on here. I'm super curious to learn what that is. So let's just dive right into it. Distraction and routine. Oh my goodness. Let's see if we can make these fit. You have 2 Work Your Magic cards, Throne and Spaceship. Ooh, very interesting. Okay. Yes, this is different than the structure for the other ones. You have the Warrior and Rest. Tiger energy. And then you have 2 Phenomena cards too. Supernova. Oh my god, look at the color combo. And Rain. Interesting. There's like a lot going on here. But I'm so here for it. And I'm so excited. Okay, group 3. You have so many more cards than everyone else. Don't tell the other piles. Okay, so what are you putting on ice? Okay, so what I'm immediately getting here is that you might be a little bit bored right now, group 3. You are in kind of a stable part of your life. I mean, you could have just gone through something with the supernova, like huge explosion, but I think for a lot of you, you have a routine, you wake up and you know what you're gonna do every day, you're hopefully getting enough sleep and rest and know how much you need in order to be fueled up during the day. So you're at least aware of like the flow that you want to be in. You're not like discovering something new right now is what it feels like. But it feels like you want to. I need to read this warrior card. It's always one that's like the key to the whole thing. Okay, yeah, so while you do have rain here, there's a lot of fire energy with the warrior and this tiger. So that is like really intriguing and exciting. You might be in a sort of mundane job is what was like truly immediately coming to mind. And there might be oppressive parts of that job that really bother you and you've been wanting to keep things stable. Maybe you're relatively new there, like, you know, a few months in where it's not super new, but like you don't necessarily feel comfortable speaking up, but like you have the power to do that with the tiger energy. Like I know that you do. You just hold it in because you don't want to scare people. And with the warrior, it seems like it's time for you to pick up the sword. Like it seems like there is something you can do. Your potential is endless. And don't be afraid to sing. Yeah, like speaking your truth. It seems like it is within the realm of your possibility without blowing up your life. You know what I mean? Like this is your fear where like, yeah, maybe you have a tendency to catastrophize a little bit, group 3. I totally get that, so no judgment here. But yeah, seems like it might be time to put your fear on ice or the mundane nature of your life on ice. Like it's like, yeah, water that down and freeze it up and then like not living a double life and not even necessarily starting a new chapter, but like being able to switch on and off from these different energies, I guess. Like as much as you know, well, first of all, you need a lot of rest to be successful with anything, but if you're going to be like, I mean, like this really is like spiritual, social justice warrior energy. Not to be like a cliche, but like, and like these bad bees right here, like come on. So it does seem like you might be ready to head out on a quest, in which case you need to be resourced. And you don't want to let your negative, intrusive thoughts distract you from what needs to be done. There also probably will be people who try to derail you and take you off of that mission, because there are always people who do not want things to progress. Just kind of looking. Yeah, so like these two different paths here, it seems like you can make time for doing something else. So this could just be like volunteering, not just, this could be volunteering, this could be getting involved in your community and doing organizing, or it could be making a stand in your workplace and changing things up there. But there is this sense here that like you can open things up a little bit in your life. There is routine, but there's room for multiple things within the routine. And I know that you have this passion and this fire burning. Tiger energy is so amazing. You probably are a pretty spiritual person, group 3, if I had to guess. You might be connected to the moon, but all in all, you see shit. Like that's the thing, it can be really exhausting if you are someone who sees a lot of the injustices in the world, or like a lot of just everyday interpersonal interactions that are really gross, for lack of a better word, or just upsetting. And that can take a lot from you. So that's why that rest is really important. I'm glad that it came up here, because like you need sleep for your muscles to be ready to pick up the heavy sword of the warrior energy, you know what I mean? I also love that it's like Aries ram horns there, like they're definitely, there's fire here in the witch's hands. Yeah. The rain is interesting. That could just be like the people who are trying to keep you down. It can also be a reminder that you do need to temper yourself. Yeah, that's kind of giving me like temperance energy, like forging a sword. It's like white hot and then you put it into cold water to like cool it down really fast. I don't really know like what the material science behind that is, but I'm pretty sure that's how things work. So this could be a reminder that I do think warrior energy, especially if you have, if you are a fire sign or if you just have a lot of fiery energy about you, it's really easy to get unbalanced with this. Like think of it as an actual like giant, really heavy sword. Like that takes a lot of skill to hold and wield properly and not like fall over as you're literally just trying to pick it up. Forget like swinging it around. So this can be a reminder to temper yourself, calm down when necessary so that you don't blow things up to a huge level. Like supernova isn't always just in your head. Like you can do things that have a large impact on your life. I'm not saying that to like scare you. I really wouldn't worry about it too much, but I do like that there's kind of like this balancing energy between you and that vibe that you're moving towards. Yeah, it's literally like you have this like, and I love this oracle deck so much. I love the Urban Crow Oracle. It's so cool. I'll always have all of the decks that I use in my description for each video, by the way. But this has a more dull and muted color scheme. And so it's kind of like you're feeling a little bit drab and down with your life right now, and you're moving to like this vibrant, magical energy. It's really interesting that there are 3 characters in both of these. So again, that could be that community vibe where you're coming together with people to make a change together. It could also be like solidarity with other co-workers. It could be even like unionizing, but it is really interesting to like the progression here where you are taking care of yourself and like playing it really safe and simple, and then you can transform your life and have it all. Like I really think you can have it all and be successful, and like you'll have the support of other people who are aligned with what you're about too. It's really beautiful energy. I know people say that all the time, but it's true. I'm really excited for you, group 3. Like this is really cool. It's time for you to make a stand. Okay, so what are you putting on ice? It's funny, a lot of these, like, I don't know. The question can be interpreted so many ways, but if I had to say right now, before we move on to the tarot, you are putting your self-doubt on ice and your ego on ice so that you can move forward following your passions, not getting distracted by any naysayers or people who try to keep you down. And yeah, those things are just not in the way to stop you, because nothing is going to stop you. You have tiger energy, so nothing is going to slow you down and make it take longer than it needs. You know, if you're like dragging the sword around for a really long time, like that sounds so exhausting, and you just simply do not have time for that. So this like just shows a really clear and steady path forward, kind of like a sheet of ice, like moving really slowly across water. So yeah, it's time to put your self-doubt on ice, I would say. But we're definitely going to get into this more with the tarot cards, so let's move forward with that. You had so many cards. Okay. Oh wow. I don't know. I feel like kind of called to take these. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Ooh. Wow, getting a lot of reversals. I don't know what's going on with that. Interesting. Ooh. Oh wow. Okay. Well, was that 4 cards? Yeah, that shot out. So let's see. Wow. Wow, a lot of majors. Oh my goodness. Wow, that all came out so fast. I like cleansed the energy of the deck and then I hardly shuffled at all, but this feels right for you. Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. This is like a wild combination of cards to come out. Anyway, that was fast. This is the Spacious Tarot. I chose it because the Swords cards are icy, among others. But wow, okay, so you literally have 4 out of 7 major arcana cards, and the Devil and the Hermit in this deck are like really similar with the trees. It's like that whole like, can you see the forest through the trees saying? I kind of always forget the exact details, but Devil's reversed and this is upright. They're like capping your reading, which is so interesting. Yeah, okay, so I was just sort of feeling like a large amount of feminine energy in this reading in general, like with the tiger. Even though there's that fire energy, which is masculine or whatever, I was feeling this sort of sense of like femme or female empowerment or sisterhood. And that might not resonate for all of you, and like feminine energy can come through anyone with any gender. Like personally, I do believe, I'm non-binary, but I personally do believe that everyone has feminine and masculine energy in them, even though it is like, they're confusing concepts. So if you don't resonate with that paradigm, that's totally okay. However, I do kind of feel this vibe here where it's like, at her worst, people call the Queen of Swords B word, very rude, but like a mean lady because she has a very sharp tongue. And the Empress too, like that abundance that we were seeing at the end of your progression of your oracle cards, like that had so much Empress energy. Like she brings people together. She's like 4 queens in one, and so nurturing and just like really vibrant, really magnetic. So yeah, it's kind of like this energy is like at the tip of your fingers. These reversals are really tough here. I love that there's justice too. Like that really is the vibe. Like someone might really be needing to come to justice. Like wow. And these like lines here, like it's like, but then there are the circles too. It's all about cause and effect. So someone might do something really offensive and that inspires you to finally stand up. I will say, and I don't want to freak you out, and I don't think this is a thing for most of the people here, but I am seeing a potential for you to potentially lose your job or willingly leave your job over this, for those of you that it's a work thing, because there's kind of this like cutting off income and abundance, and then like this sense of aloneness and alienation. It could also just be, if it is a work thing or if it's a thing in a community, it could be at first or in part you speaking up about something and not getting support from people. I think there's going to be a cohort of people supporting you no matter what. Even if you feel really alone, I think you might just not know who your allies are, but they're around. You just have to find them. But you might truly be alone. But yeah, there might be a feeling of like less people being with you than you hoped, and like not drawing people in with this reverse energy here. Not drawing people in as much as you thought. Like same with this 9 of Cups energy. It's, you know, kind of a wish being blocked when it's in reverse. And in this particular instance, I'm looking at all these cups and it's almost like people coming together for a meeting of some kind, but then like people didn't show up to the dinner party or something like that, or the organizing meeting. Like it's like these cups are just like left, or maybe, you know, you didn't discuss the things you wanted to discuss and then people just leave and don't even say goodbye or something. I don't know, but there's definitely, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Like, and I feel like the path of the warrior is really hard. Like I feel like no matter what, I don't know, I don't want to like bring this down a lot, but I do feel like for a lot of you, you will make some blunders because it's really, really hard not to. Like, it's so rare, it might even be impossible to not, you know? But I definitely think there is this oppressive, heavy force that is holding you back, and that is like really unnerving, honestly. Like, there just really is this energy of like you just shining brightly and like, yeah, really standing in your power and like just being so impressive and resilient and like brave in the face of something pretty nasty with the devil reversed here, but also you escaping it because it is reversed. You are like escaping that imprisonment and that like being weighed down and feeling limited in what you can do. So you are getting out of it. I think it's just going to be potentially a bit of a painful journey, potentially a bit lonely with the hermit. Like, the hermit goes through a lot to get the enlightenment that they have. And I think whatever is going on in this chapter of your life is going to affect you for a long time to come with this justice, this particular justice card, like really to me drives home the whole cause and effect thing. Like, it really is like literally the ripple effect. And yeah, all I'm saying is to just be careful. I hate to say that, but it's true. There also might be someone who you look up to, like a mentor of some kind or a leader figure who ends up disappointing you, unfortunately. Like, doesn't actually have the same morals or ethics or beliefs that you do, or at least doesn't act them out when the going gets tough, when it comes down to it. They do not show up in the way that you would have thought that they would, and their lack of support or conviction could really cost you, depending on the stakes in the situation and how much you were depending on them, that you thought you could trust them. So yeah, definitely be careful. And what are you putting on ice? You are putting on, yeah, you're kind of cooling yourself down. What you're putting on ice is your desire to slash up every single just really vile, out of alignment person who wields their power irresponsibly and doesn't care about hurting others. And like, we all have different amounts of power, and we all are inherently like problematic and hurtful in some way, but like some people are just so out of balance, right? Like, justice is normally scales. They are like completely out of balance, out of alignment, and I can tell that that bothers you. You want to like scratch them up, like, oh my god, you see everything and you're not impressed. And just remember to try to not let it take from you. Like, honestly, like, I kind of relate to that part where it's like you wish you could just change things a lot faster, but you will basically be throwing yourself at a brick wall. Like, these trees are like, they're so close together, you can hardly get through. But also, you are going to get through. There is going to be a success of some kind. Like, justice will come for someone, but it might take a while. So that's where it's like, yeah, this process of a reckoning is kind of being put on ice by the universe, is what I'm getting with all of these reversals. And like, yeah, the only things that are upright are like justice itself, and then the hermit to me just kind of implies a longer amount of time. Like, you're going to be going on a journey with this. You're taking your sword into the woods or into the tall grass, taking your chances, and like, that's a whole saga in and of itself. So you're gonna learn a lot as you go. And yeah, it's interesting. That's actually so interesting too, that it's like, I mean, 9 and 11, normally that's not that exceptional in any way, but in this particular case, it's like mirroring the, yeah, 10 and 1 numbering system. You get what I mean. But let's pull, I feel like we've really driven this home. Let's pull final advice cards. I have this oracle deck here, the circle deck, get some imparting advice for you. Ancestor, oh my gosh. So yeah, maybe you don't have a lot of support in the physical, but you have spirits and entities and guides who are like looking out for you, and they're so proud of you. Infused, that's like really beautiful with this and that. So yeah, are these messages it? These might be it. Earth and shifting, oh my gosh. Really goes with the icy vibe. I didn't realize this deck was gonna be like so good for this, but it is. Yeah, so with infuse and shifting, I think that's like infusing yourself with that water, with that connectedness to your emotions, with that temperance, so that you aren't all fire. Yeah, this is literally like yeah, temper yourself with water energy and ground yourself with the earth so that you can move in a more balanced way yourself. You know, you don't want to burn down this beautiful field. But yeah, remember that you have this deep well of personal abundance that's like always there for you. So with the shifting, yeah, like I hope I didn't get you down with saying that this stuff will take a long time. It could take a lot less time than you might expect to get some progress, get what you want in a situation. This is definitely though, just like you cannot rush the shift, like go with the flow of the universe and know that no matter how scary and hard it might get, group 3, you are divinely protected and watched and held. Even if you don't feel a lot of like human material support in the physical, you are on a journey. Kind of, I mean, you do, like, you have this cycle and you have this cycle breaker energy to me personally. Like, you might not come from a family where taking on this kind of energy and this path is normal. I mean, I feel like honestly most of us don't, and that things are really changing only very recently, but you are on a noble quest, group 3, and yeah, just one drop can make such a big difference. So be really deliberate about what you like let into your energy field, because again, I mean, yeah, you might be like a highly sensitive person. Looking back at that rest card, you might just get tired really easily. Yeah, really overwhelmed. So maybe like this is making me think of essential oils right now too, so that could be a nice way to relax. Put that on before you go to sleep type of thing, or wear it during the day on you. Yeah, so this isn't all sunshine and rainbows. I'm sorry, that's what you were looking for. That's not really, you know, I just read what's there. I don't sugarcoat anything or change anything. I'm just channeling. And it's really cute that, like, I don't know, all ancestor cards always make me smile, honestly, because it's just so sweet when that shows up, and they love you a lot. Like, they're so freaking excited that they have such a bad bee in their family line. So yeah, that's what I have for you, group 3. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope you put your immense need for change on ice a little bit, but also keep it moving. I'm so excited for what you do. Feel free to report back in the comments if you accomplish something really cool. I'd love to hear about it. But yeah, if you did enjoy this video, feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. I always appreciate that if you feel like doing that. And yeah, thank you to your guides and my guides in the universe for helping with this reading. I hope you take care, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye.